Not come from here, but it comes from here. I apologize for that, but I saw that on television once, and I thought, it's not likely I'm ever going to get a chance to use that. And no, you can see why I was surprised. Obviously, and of course, I want to thank the Saline Foundation. All of you who are already inducted, who came tonight. Apparently that's, if not an expectation, a desire of the organization. But also friends and family and a number of people that I met that I didn't know before, and some that I may have not seen for a number of years. In looking back over my years here in Saline, I thought first and foremost about many students, former students of mine, some who made me smile, some who made me laugh, some, excuse me, who made me cry probably. That's a lot easier now at my current age. And some who probably added to my higher blood pressure that happened over the years. At the same time, I also think of other people in the district, obviously my colleagues and the teaching staff, and specifically the special education staff and the teachers and support people for that program. I was just thinking the other day, and this is not a novel thought, but what makes, for me, and what made Saline area schools great was not, well, we didn't have a building like this. We had a high school without a swimming pool when I started. But it's not the facilities or the world-class technology, it's the people. And I think that's who I think of most often and most about. I also remember something that was unique, because I didn't always teach in Saline, but was not just collaboration and teaming, but it was the extent to which that was encouraged and fostered in Saline area schools. And it wasn't just between teachers, which obviously was a very valuable part of that, but it was between those of us who were teachers and other staff members. So if you don't mind, I'm not going to mention names, but I can think now of some examples of people who made great contributions to the schools, to the district, and certainly to me personally. I think of some of the bus drivers who were willing to work with me on implementing a behavior plan. In general, I was assigned students with emotional impairment because that was supposedly my area of expertise. But the results were, in many cases, they were no longer being kicked off the bus and they were showing up every day at school. Others I'm thinking about, even way back to Jensen School, and certainly at Houghton, were some of the custodians who were willing to work with me and on occasion allow one of my students to help them, whether it was cleaning up in the cafeteria or sweeping in the hall. You would think it was they'd won the sweepstakes. And especially at a time when there wasn't as much focus on hands-on learning, especially at the elementary level, it was a chance for some of my students to have success, excuse me, without paper and pencil tasks being required. In later years at Houghton and certainly at Heritage, when inclusion and then full inclusion came for students with exceptional needs, we added, we call them first teaching assistants or teacher assistants. Now I believe the term is para-educator or paraprofessional. And my experience there was these are and were people who did so much work behind the scenes, sometimes with our most difficult students, and possibly were taken for granted in the sense that they were there, they did their job, they took care of things the entire day. I just want to say, I hope I never, and I don't believe I did, take them for granted. I appreciated what they did. Excuse me. So working with and learning from the staff here in Saline allowed me, someone who felt like he was the luckiest guy in the world when I landed a job at Jensen School back in 1979. It allowed me to become a better teacher, to learn. I ended up learning probably as much from my students as I did back at good old Eastern Michigan. And but in addition to that, it allowed me to become part of the Saline Area Schools family, of which I consider myself a humble member today. Thank you.